In terms of making UCSD more inclusive and socially just, the number one thing is that I really take community very seriously. So working in collaboration with students and my colleagues and staff, what we've done is try to do a lot of outreach work in local communities like the one I'm from, which is City Heights in San Diego. I'm a graduate of Hoover High School, and so I've worked with these groups. Like BSU, for instance, has a high school day that they do every year. And what we try to do is really bring a college-type curriculum to young people and have them see themselves reflected in that curriculum.
He can remember very fondly what it was like to be a young high school student in City Heights, for example, and now talking to them about his experience and what he's able to do on a campus like UCSD.
Unfortunately, many of the students that come to things like the high school day feel like they have more of a chance to end up in a jail cell or a prison cell rather than being an undergraduate in my classroom. And it's not like we're going to wave a magic wand to alleviate that problem, but what we try to do is facilitate having the students have a critical view of these systems and their place in it as targets of racial profiling and such. And in facilitating that critical perspective, empowering them to try to make a change relative to those things.
UCSD in some ways is a strange place because we have a lot of brain power here, a lot of great people, a lot of engaged students, but at the same time we also have a lot of serious problems with diversity in terms of race, in terms of economics. And while there's a general willingness to change that, there are not that many people who actually do that in an impactful way, and Dennis is one of them, in part because his research is so much aligned with his teaching, his activism. So this is something that he does.
My latest book that was just released a couple of weeks ago is Slaves of the State: Black Incarceration from the Chain Gang to the Penitentiary. And it deals with the relationship between chattel slavery and what I call prison slavery. I really feel like it's important for those that are working to deal with something like mass incarceration to have a genealogy of where did this come from historically.
There was a student of mine who was really just intrigued by what Dr. Childs was talking about and really moved her. And she chose to organize a field trip for her fellow students to come to UCSD and be able to get a tour of campus and hear from Professor Childs, because she felt like I was really lucky to be in his presence and get that validation of this is what I do research on, but more than that, this is why you matter and why you deserve to be at a place like UCSD.
He's in many ways a role model for students, but also for me as a colleague. He's very sincere in what he's doing. He's not doing his job and then he's doing something else. It's about more than that. So there's a commitment that I think is very inspiring to people, whether they agree with him on the particular issues he's working on or not.
California doesn't need to be ranked #1 in incarcerating people. And I think that UCSD can be a place that is known for being at the spearhead of changing this really horrific situation affecting mostly youth of color and poor youth in our society. So I've really, through doing this work locally, I've found that I've just been more emboldened to break down the walls that are often placed between, say, my role as researcher, my role as teacher, and my role as a member of this community.